Changing your energy. Combining a clear intention with elevated emotions. Once you're in the sweet spot of the generous present moment, where all possibilities exist in the quantum field, how do you turn one or more of those potentials, those immaterial possibilities, into reality in the three-dimensional world of matter? This requires two things: a clear intention and elevated emotion. Your clear intention is exactly what it sounds like. You have to get clear on what it is you want to create, getting as specific as possible, and describe it in detail. Let's say you want to go on a great vacation. Where is it you want to go? How do you want to get there? Who do you want to go with? Or who do you want to meet when you're there? What sort of accommodations do you want to stay in? What do you want to do or see when you're there? What food do you want to eat? What do you want to drink? What kind of wardrobe will you pack? What will you buy to bring home? You get the point. Make it detailed. Make it as real as you can, because you are going to assign a letter as a symbol of possibility to all those conditions. As you read in the previous chapter, those thoughts, which make up your intention, are the electrical charge you are sending out into the unified field. Now you have to combine that intention with an elevated emotion, such as love, gratitude, inspiration, joy, excitement, awe, or wonder, to name just a few examples. You have to tap into the feeling you anticipate you will have when you manifest your intent, and then feel the emotion ahead of the experience. The elevated emotion, which carries a higher energy, is the magnetic charge you are sending out into the field. And as you have read, when you combine the electric charge, your intention, with the magnetic charge, elevated emotion, you create an electromagnetic signature that is equal to your state of being. Another way to describe these elevated emotions is to call them heartfelt emotions. Usually when we feel emotions like those I just mentioned, we notice that our heart begins to swell. That's because our energy is moving to that area, and as a result, we feel these wonderful elevated feelings that carry an intent to give, to care for, to nurture, to trust, to create, to connect, to feel safe, to serve, and to be thankful. Unlike the stress emotions, which we discussed in the previous chapter, that draw from the invisible field of energy and information that surrounds the body, these heartfelt emotions contribute to the body's energy field. In fact, the energy that is created when the heart opens makes the heart become more orderly and coherent, just like the brain, so it produces a measurable magnetic field. 3. It's this action that connects us to the unified field. And when we marry an intention, the electric charge, with that energy, the magnetic charge, we create a new electromagnetic field. Since energy is frequency and all frequency carries information, it is that elevated energy that carries your thought or intention. Remember, those potentials in the quantum field exist only as electromagnetic frequencies, frequencies with information, and you cannot perceive them with your senses as matter yet. It makes sense, then, that the new electromagnetic signal you broadcast would attract those electromagnetic frequencies in the field that are a vibrational match to it. In other words, when there's a vibrational match between your energy and any potential that already exists in the unified field, you begin to draw that new experience to you. It will find you as you become the vortex to your future. So in that way, you don't have to work to bring what you want to manifest to you, and you don't have to go anywhere to get it. That's changing matter with matter. You have to become pure consciousness, no body, no one, no thing, nowhere, in no time, and change your energy, the electromagnetic signal you are broadcasting, and then you will draw that future experience right to you, changing energy into matter. You will literally tune into the energy of a new future, and as you do so, the observer, the unified field, is observing you observe a new destiny, and it then endorses your creation. Take a glance at Figure 3.4. Once we're in the present moment, there are infinite possibilities that exist in the quantum field as electromagnetic frequencies. As you combine a clear intention with elevated emotions, you are broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature into the field. When there's a vibrational match between your energy and the energy of that potential, the longer you're conscious of that energy, the more you will draw the experience to you. Each letter represents a different potential. R is a new relationship. J is a new job. P is a problem being resolved in your life. M is a mystical experience. G is a genius mind. H is health. A is abundance. O is a new opportunity. Before we go any further, I want to back up just a bit to emphasize how important elevated emotions are for this equation to work. After all, when you decide to observe a future in the quantum field that you want to manifest, if you're doing it as a victim, or as someone who's suffering or feeling limited or unhappy, your energy is not going to be consistent with your intended creation, and you won't be able to call that new future to yourself. That's the past. You may have a clear intention, and therefore your mind may be in the future because you can imagine what you want. But if you feel any of those familiar limited emotions, your body still believes it's in the same limited past experiences. As you learned in the previous chapter, emotion is energy in motion, and elevated emotions carry a higher frequency than survival emotions. So if you want to create change, you have to do it from a level of energy that's greater than guilt, greater than pain, greater than fear, greater than anger, greater than shame, and greater than unworthiness. In fact, any lower vibrational energy that you are feeling cannot carry the thought of your future dream. It will carry only a level of consciousness equal to those limited emotions. Therefore, if you are going to perform something that's unlimited, you better feel unlimited. If you want to create freedom, you better feel free. And if you want to truly heal yourself, you'd better raise your energy to wholeness. The more elevated the emotion you feel, the greater the energy you broadcast and the more influence you will have on the material world of matter. And the greater your energy, the shorter the amount of time it takes for your manifestation to appear in your life. In this process, you relax and allow a greater mind, the consciousness of the unified field, to organize an event that's right for you. You essentially get out of the way. When you are surprised by an unknown experience that seems like it came out of nowhere, that's because you created it in nowhere. Something appeared out of nothing because you created it in no thing. And it can happen in no time if you create it in the realm beyond linear time. That's the quantum field, where there is no time. A French researcher named René Piech, Ph.D., demonstrated the power of intention with newly hatched baby chicks. When chicks hatch, they usually imprint on their mother, bonding with her and following her around. But if the mother isn't there when the chicks hatch, they'll imprint on the first moving object they encounter. For example, if a chick first sees a human, it will follow the human around in the same way. For his study, Piech built a special type of random event generator, a computerized robot that would turn randomly as it moved around an arena, going right 50% of the time and going left 50% of the time. As a control, he first recorded the robot's path in the arena with no chicks present. He found that over time, the robot covered most of the arena equally. Next, Piech exposed newly hatched chicks to the robot. As expected, they imprinted on the robot as if it was their mother and followed it all over the arena. After the chicks had imprinted on the robot, he removed them from the arena and put them in a cage on one side, where they could see the robot but not move toward it. An illustration of the results of René Piech's baby chick experiment. The box mark that represents the movement of the random event generator when the cage is empty. The box mark B shows the movement of the random event generator when the chicks were placed in the cage to the right of the arena. If the intentions of the chicks could influence the random event generator to move toward them a majority of the time, imagine what you can do in drawing your new future to you. What happened next was astonishing. The intention of the baby chicks to be near to what they believed to be their mother, in this case, the robot, actually influenced the random movements of the robot. It no longer moved all over the arena but instead remained in the half of the arena closest to the chicks. See Figure 3.5. If the intentions of baby chicks can influence the movements of a computerized robot, just imagine what you can do in drawing your future to you. In this place of the unified field, you're actually becoming aware of what already exists and you're bringing it to life with your attention and your intention. Here, you can be a genius. You can be abundant. You can be healthy. You can be wealthy. You can have a mystical experience. You can create a new job. You can resolve a problem in your life. Remember, all these possibilities exist as electromagnetic potentials in the quantum field. You cannot experience them with your senses because they don't yet exist in this space and time. They exist only as frequency or energy carrying information that has to be tuned in to and observed into this space and time. And in order for you to do this properly, you are going to have to connect to that information and energy with your energy and intention. Here's another way to look at it. If you're unified with the consciousness and the energy of every body, everyone, everything, every place, and every time within a vast unified field of potentials, then observing a potential in the quantum is just like becoming aware of your hand in the physical world. You're already connected to it. It already exists. Tuning into the energy of your future and intentionally observing that potential in the quantum then causes infinite fields of energy to collapse into particles, called a quantum event, and that becomes an experience that can then manifest in your physical, three-dimensional world. Then when you get up from your meditation, even though you're back in the three-dimensional world of matter, because you already experienced the elevated emotion you anticipated ahead of the experience, you have no choice but to get up feeling as if your intent has already manifested, or as if your prayer is already answered. You feel intimately connected to your new future, knowing it will show up in a way you can't predict, because if you can predict it, then it's a known. In effect, you get up as a new self, one who feels more like energy than matter. But you must remain aware, because the moment you forget and start stressing about when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, you'll return back to your old self, trying to predict the future based on the past. And then you'll start feeling the same old familiar emotions, with the same lower energy, that influence your same old thoughts, and you've just made the choice to stay trapped in the known. We could say that you'll disconnect from the energy of your future the moment you feel the familiar energy of the emotions of your past. If you instead become successful at tuning into this potential you have chosen over and over again and you get familiar with it, you will be able to tune into it not only in meditation but also when you're in line at the bank. You'll be able to tune into it when you're sitting in traffic. You can do it when you're shaving, when you're cooking, and when you're taking a walk. You can do it over and over again with your eyes open, just as you do when your eyes are closed in meditation. Just remember, every time you tune into the energy of your future in the present moment, you are drawing your future to you. And if you do it often enough, and you do it correctly, you'll change your biology from a past-present reality to a future-present reality. That is, you will change your brain neurologically from being a record of the past to becoming a map to the future. At the same time, as you teach your body emotionally what that future will feel like in the present moment, you'll recondition your body with this new elevated emotion. You'll be able to signal new genes in new ways, and you'll change your body to look like the future you chose with your clear intention has already happened. That means you begin to biologically wear your future.